doing, Boney? That was hilarious.
Well, then I just kind of lost it altogether.
Oh, man, you're going to have to tell a story on Crazy Story Week, because you got the stories. I know you do.
Oh, I got the stories.
Yeah.
The crazy tales.
That was tales from the crypt, as it were.
Hey, now.
Just kidding.
You're being offensive.
I'm just joking.
Hey,
Just joking.
come on. You know, name calling. It's not nice.
All right, well, Crazy Story Week on Lunch Therapy. Come and join us. We're going to have all kinds of crazy stories, some of them live, some of them dead. Just kidding, Boney.
You're such a jerk.
Totally joking.
And I still never got my lunch.
She's so sensitive.
Never get any
Always
lunch.
so hungry. Always so
Well,
hungry.
I'm bony. I need some meat on them there bones.
Okay, here we are. It's lunch therapy on a Monday. You know what that means. We got to breathe a little extra today. I'm going to take in a breath in through the nose, out through the toes. It's good to see you, Gnell. Best intro ever. Thank you, Gnell. I appreciate that. Boney is a fine improv artist, I think. Okay, here we go. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let's see, we have Cade Alexi here. Let it on out. Today is a very special day because it is the beginning of Crazy Story Week. I'm going to have people on the show telling their crazy stories. We have a live person today. He's waiting in the green room with Boney. Again, in through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let the oxygen get into your lungs, into the back of your lungs. Let it go. Holy Kamala Lopez. Hopefully Kamala Lopez is going to tell a story. We're going to do a vote on what kind of a story she's going to tell, but it'll happen later on in the week. Back from overseas. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Make sure you get a lot of oxygen in today because it is Monday. Let it go. And because it's Monday, we've got to have some hummingbirds for the hummingbird cult. This is the cult of the hummingbird, and we do not disappoint. This is a high-tech GoPro camera, GoPro 3 with a macro lens, and this guy Jim. I mean, I think it's beautiful. Jim is clearly a higher level than we've seen on the show of hummingbird capturing. Last week we had that beautiful story about being the hummingbird. I invite you to go back last week, and see that episode. We also had Tony Horton on last Friday. Relaxing tongue drum music. I love this. I don't know about you, but I have never even seen a tongue drum. I've tried to play some drums with my tongue before, but never to this level. Should get Jim on the show. Yeah, that's a good idea. He could tell us some stuff about hummingbird photography, because God knows we need it. God knows. And Ganell, you can get some pointers. Okay, so moving on. I was talking last week about how when you put on a GoPro camera on your head, you do crazy stuff. And so I thought I'd show you guys something really crazy. Nobody's going to get hurt, don't worry.
Okay, you ready?
Me part.
Let's do it.
These are guys in a kayak, and they're going to go down a drainage ditch. Yeah.
Oh,
I'd
no,
be
I'm
swearing
such
too
an
if I was
idiot.
going to go down a drainage ditch in a kayak. But you know, GoPro makes you do these things, I
meant
guess.
to take off the one.
Here they go. I got to go forward because they got hooked. This is not the most relaxing thing, so I apologize for that. And that's why I showed you the tongue drum first. And they do look like bones. That seems like not safe at any speed. Okay, we're out. We're out. Back to the relaxation portion of the show. I hope you remember those breaths because I started to not breathe there for a second. So I'm flying high over Costa Rica right now, and I'm going to introduce a dear friend of mine who's going to tell a crazy story. He doesn't seem adequately protected. No, they did not seem adequately protected. So Jonathan Williams is somebody that I went to college with, and he is one of my favorite actors. He runs a theater company up in San Jose called the Tabard, and he's still doing theater now, some of it live, some of it he live streamed. So we'll hear more about that, but he's going to tell us a crazy story. And he's the first person on the show that I've brought in to tell a crazy story. This is kind of a crazy story in the background here. But yeah, so he's the first one. So he's going to set the bar. No pressure, of course, because this is lunch therapy. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on here. I just want to show you a picture of the Tabard Theater. It's a really nice theater in San Jose. They got a bar, so that's good. So Ganell will like it, and probably Jay Gaffney if he were here. All right, I'm bringing him on. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jonathan Williams. Yay! I didn't have my... Wait a minute. We got to do this.
What's happening?
Got to have applause. Come on. I don't know if you can hear that.
I can hear it in the background. It might just be in my mind. Every time I walk into a room, I hear applause.
Yeah, you do? I know. That's healthy, actually. I do, too. I hear laughter, all kinds of things. It helps, especially when you're doing live streaming. It's great to see you.
It's good to see you, too, man. I wish I was on the beach with you.
I
Gosh,
know,
you look
isn't
like
it
you're
sweet?
living the life.
Yeah, well, you know, you can work from anywhere now. So
That's right, yeah.
Now that we're all working from home, you
incredible.
might as well have home be a beautiful beach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to have great internet, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But there's islands off of the coast of England that are just saying that you can come there, they'll
Really?
subsidize you, and they have amazing internet.
You know, I
right?
did that. I Googled far off places with amazing internet.
Did you?
Yeah, because I wanted to see, like, if we decided to just, like, take off somewhere, where would you go?
Yeah.
But I'd have to be able to lunch therapize.
Absolutely.
One of the places that came up immediately was some underground bunker in Pennsylvania. And this guy, there's a whole video, I'll have to show it on the show because it's so bizarre, where he talks about how he laid these fiber lines underground, and you can live underground and have great internet. But that wasn't quite what I was thinking of when I thought of remote locations.
No, you want the same kind of level of internet, but above ground with
It's like
sun.
maybe a beach.
Yeah, a beach, exactly.
But it is 1,000 degrees here in Los Angeles, and
Yeah.
so we're trying to cool off. Is it cooler up there in San
It's
Jose?
probably a little bit cooler temperature-wise, but not a heck of a lot, man. Not a heck of a lot. All of California is pretty warm right now.
All right. Well, I hear you have a crazy story for us today.
I do. I've got some crazy stuff. You know me.
Yes.
I know you. We know each other. I know that
one
guy.
thing that I remember that's burned into my memory is during the earthquake when we were in college, we went up to the Bay Area to the American College Theater Festival. We just suddenly got this vacation to go up there.
Yep.
And so, of course, we were imbibing as many alcoholic beverages as we could. And then you taught me this game. And this is what I have in my head. Couple duck, 3 brown bear, 4 running hare, something about 6 simple sheiks or something. But anyway, I remember you said, like, are you cardinal or something like that? And then all of a sudden we started playing this weird game. Do you remember that game?
Yeah, fat hen, couple duck.
Oh, yeah.
The whole
hen.
thing goes,
I forgot the
fat
first
hen,
one.
couple duck, 3 brown bear, 4 running hare, 5 fat fickle female sitting, sipping schnapp, 6 simple Simon sitting in a sleuth, 7 Simbad sailor sailing the 7 seas in a sleuth. Okay, well, I got to go back because I think that's
Yeah, then so as soon as you mess it up, you have to go back.
then you
take
gotta go
a
back
drink.
and
then
drink.
you got to go back, and it gets harder and harder. And each phrase is designed to screw you up.
Yes.
Like 3 brown bear. You can't say
not
bears,
bears.
and then you got to go all the way back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember it well. Yeah.
That was
I
hilarious.
had not thought about that in years.
It's weird
That's
that it sticks with
amazing.
you, that kind of thing. Even in
Oh
your
yeah, I
drunken
remember the
haze.
trip.
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
the trip absolutely
That was
because
super fun.
basically the school they cracked our school.
They
with
cracked
that
our school in
tiny
half.
hole.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, we can send you up to Hayward,
Yeah.
Hayward of all places, and you can kind of go on this weird little mini vacation and get out of Southern California for a week. And we're all like, yeah, sure.
That was so much fun, though. It was it was so crazy. And, I feel like when we were at Cal Arts, when the school broke, that's when it got good. We were doing like theater out in the community and stuff. Like, I mean, it was so much fun.
Yes, storefronts and all sorts of
what was great about it is we always felt this sort of us and them kind of thing with the community where we were like all artsy and everybody was more conservative. And then the school broke and this community just opened their arms to us. And all of a sudden we were going to school in synagogues and over at the, some weird like factory or something and just different places. And then we were doing improv in different venues. That's what theater's for, I think.
Yes.
Those crazy times.
Yeah, because that was the new
vital.
play festival, because there was always a new play festival, but that year's new play festival was just amazing.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
I remember sitting in an empty storefront that they tried to convert into a theater, and Jimmy Dragalovich had created a show, like basically contrived a way to have every black and white comedy actor in the history books all appear at the same time. So Abbott and Costello.
When you said Jimmy
Dragolovich,
I could never say his name, but when you said his name, I thought of him in a Charlie Chaplin costume.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He did an amazing Charlie Chaplin. Yeah. But what I remember even more than that was being there on one night and they were having technical difficulties. And then Bennett Jones got up and did an improv where he got up and basically said, I want to do something. I saw this first at the Humana Festival back in 1988, and it really, really touched me. And,
I know what it is.
So I'd like to do a dramatic reading right now of The Dukes of Hazzard, episode 3, season 2.
I have to get him on the show to do that. I have to get him on the show to do that. I'm going to do that. Bennett Jones, mark my words, we're going to get him on the show to do that thing. I love that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and he's like, he does it. The cool thing about it is he does the sound effects of the car from the inside and the outside.
Yes.
I can't do it justice.
Oh yeah, no, you got to get him on.
Yeah,
you got to get him on.
All right, so let's hear this crazy story that you have.
Okay.
Let me have.
All right. So back in 2001, I was working for the San Francisco Shakespeare Festival, and I was cast as Edgar in King Lear. And we had to do full-on battle, the sword fighting. And the director of that piece, his name was Paul Berry. He sounded kind of like a strangely like a evil Jimmy Stewart. He talked like this all the time, but he was just always jumping all over you and telling you how you couldn't act your way out of a paper bag.
Yeah.
But he had us do full sword and shield broadsword work, and it was like Fran Bennett's first year voice class back at Cal Arts. It was like boot camp, right?
Yeah.
Every day we would go for like an hour, sword and shield crashing into each other, and it was like doing like drill sergeant type stuff.
Yeah.
But it was, building up the muscles and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we were doing this at the rehearsal space for SF Shakes back then was in a warehouse, like deep south of Market. It's probably like insanely rich tech industry stuff now, but back then it was dangerous. It was like, it was not the type of place you wanted to go ever. But we went for rehearsals all the time. And so we're sitting there. There's probably, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 of us that have to do fighting of one kind or another in the show. Mm-hmm. And we're going through this stuff, crash, boom, crash, with real shields and full giant broadswords inside of this warehouse south of Market. We're going through all this stuff. And one day we heard somebody crying for help out on the street, a woman's voice, help, help. We can't tell what's going on, but like all of us simultaneously, something about us, the like inner hero knight was ignited, because we all kind of looked back and forth at each other. We literally had swords and shields, and we hear a woman crying for help from the street. And we're like, yes, we can do this. And we all went running over, and one of us grabbed, there was a giant, roll-up door.
Yeah.
So someone's like, with the big chain, and this door starts going up like this. And like a dozen of us, sword and shield, start running out across the street like this. And there's a couple of homeless people across the street, this woman, and she's got a bike, and there's this guy like literally trying to pull the bike away from her, trying to steal the bike as we come charging out. And I can only imagine what this guy must have thought as he's sitting there in this battle over this bike and looks over, sees all these
like an army of swordsmen,
a small battalion of broadsword wielding actors come charging across the street at him.
What did he do?
He looked, at first he was just a deer in the headlights, like, what the frack is actually happening? My God, what time loop have I just disappeared into? But he dropped the bike and then he just ran. The weird part was then talking with the woman, because she actually had to stay in the reality that we had created. It's like, thank you guys for, what are you doing here?
Like,
what's going on?
We've come from the past to save you.
We have opened a time portal. We have returned from the time
young
of
maiden.
Richard III.
That's awesome. Oh, I like that. I thought that now I know when I said tell a crazy story and maybe make it one where you're the hero.
Exactly. As soon as you said make it you're the hero, and I'm like, I got one.
I had a stage combat story like that I just thought of. When I was in the Berkshires, I used to work at a butternut ski lodge, it was called. And I would clean the toilets in a lodge way, way up on the hill. So it was like dark, and it was just all in the middle of the night. And it was just me and my girlfriend at the time and this other guy. And I never talked to the other guy, but he was super tall, and he had like one eye that was kind of cockeyed. And I just never talked. I was scared of him. I was afraid of the guy. And one day, my girlfriend, Laura, she looks at him and she goes, were you in prison? And I'm like, no. And he's like, yeah, I was. And she's like, why? And I'm like, oh, God, why are you going to ask him that? And he said, well, I gutted a guy. That's what he said. I gutted a guy. So then, later, then I was even more afraid of this guy. But then a week later, we were up there, and we were in the theater. We were at Shakespeare and Company at the time. So we were practicing our stage combat while we were cleaning toilets or whatever. And I'm like, hey, Laura. And I go and I, fake slapped her. And she was like, And then all of a sudden, this looming shadow came over me. And she's like, no. And he's like, oh. And she goes, we were just playing at stage combat. And he's like, oh, okay. And then it turned out he was going to like rescue her. I don't know. I lived to tell the tale. And he actually turned out to be a super, super nice guy, this guy. and we became friends after that. But in that moment, if she wouldn't
Wow.
have been like, no.
No, don't. Oh my God.
Oh, stage combat. Yeah, you got to be careful with the stage combat.
Yeah.
Obviously, in your case, it worked out very well.
It worked out. But, I mean, no kidding aside, somebody could have pulled out a gun for all we knew.
I know.
It was really ridiculous, the idea of just running across the street with giant pieces of steel.
Oh, God.
But yes, no, it absolutely just like went right. Every single one of us unanimously. That was the other thing. Like one of those like great little communal experiences where you don't talk. Everybody knows exactly what's going to happen next.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Our
ridiculous as
it's like the book Prayer for Owen Meany. I don't know if you've ever read this book, but there's this little guy with this really like booming, shrieking voice, and he always likes to do this trick where he dunks a basketball. Like he runs, and I don't know what happens. He jumps and dunks a basketball, and no one could ever figure out why he's so obsessed with this. But then there comes a time where there's like a bomb that's going to go off, and there's a window that's really high up, and the little Owen Meany guy comes and grabs the bomb and goes and throws it through that window. And that was like everything that you're doing in your life just culminated in that moment. And that might be what happened with you.
Yeah.
I probably totally got that wrong about that book, but this is lunch therapy.
Gotta roll.
Gotta roll. Well, thanks, Jonathan, for being on the show. Can you tell me a little bit about your theater company and how what you're doing? Are you live streaming shows? Are you doing live shows? What's happening up there?
Yeah, well, we, like so many other theater companies, we had a show called Looking Over the President's Shoulder that played for one night on March 13th. It opened and closed on that night.
Wow.
So I started thinking while we're going through the shutdown, as it became apparent that the shutdown was going to be a lot longer than we thought.
Yeah.
We've invested some time, energy, and a little bit of money that we have into technology to do a 3-camera robotic shoot.
Robotic, nonetheless.
Yeah, robotic. So yes, I can sit behind the control panel, and I can actually control all 3 cameras simultaneously and decide what angle to shoot back and forth to.
Wow.
It's crazy.
I saw a video of your setup on Facebook, and it was wild.
You can go and check that out. It's up on our Facebook
Super
page,
cool.
and
so people can go to your website.
Yep.
And
tabardtheater.org.
Check it out. I invite everybody to do that. I've got a couple of links that I'm going to show. But
now we've announced the rest of our season. We are going to just go live stream until somebody tells me I can have people back in the room again.
Cool.
We're still, doing safe and sane.
What plays are you doing?
So we're still adding some things in there, but for instance, the fall, we're kind of playing the second half of the year by ear, but we're going to do Arsenic and Old Lace is the next one that we're doing. Wow. That's going to be done as a radio drama.
Cool.
We're trying to turn towards sort of radio drama style theater for now because we can do social distancing a lot easier inside of that. Then we're doing War of the Worlds, the Orson Welles Mercury Theater version of that.
The radio theater version.
The radio theater version.
Better let people know.
Because
otherwise, you never know what could happen with that. Especially these days. They'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm sure we're being invaded by aliens. Everything else is going wrong.
Right. Well, we might be hit by an asteroid later on this week, right? Hear about that one?
Everything's on fire. What the hell?
Oh, yeah. You got to laugh.
All right. Thanks, Jonathan, for giving us a good laugh here. And,
thank you for having me on, man.
We'll see you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. Okay,
that was Jonathan Williams. This is his website, tabardtheater.org. Like I said, he's one of my favorite actors. There are some of the world's best actors are in these theaters around the country and around the world. And maybe you don't see them on the Oscars or something like that, but they're some of the best there are. So I invite you to go up there when you're in town at the Tabard Theater. Check them out. See, great story, yeah. And thanks for that story. Yeah, so we would need more great stories on the show this week. We're going to be bringing on comedians and actors and some of my favorite storytellers. If you do know somebody who has a great story and you want them to come on the show, or if you want to tape your story, please do. My email address is mythclub@gmail.com. That's mythclub@gmail.com if you have any recommendations. I'm going to be having my comedian friends, my actor friends, and some of the best storytellers I can find. We're going to go look at one more thing because we have time. And I'm going to show you this super cool weather. I don't know what it is. Maybe you can tell me. This is a time lapse of some heavy rain. Tsunami from heaven. Amazing rainstorm time lapse. Peter Mayer. You can check out his YouTube channel. I just thought that you might enjoy this. Music is beautiful too. So yeah, check that out on his YouTube channel. He's got some really cool stuff on there. One other thing that I wanted to tell you before we move on to our dance break is that last week, I don't know, I lose track. This is episode, 119? But anyway, last week, I think we were talking about Action Park, or Class Action Park, as people like to call it. Well, it looks like there's a documentary. So here's the trailer for Class Action Park.
There's nothing in the world like Action Park.
Baby, let me take you where the action is hot. Action Park.
So it's going to be on HBO.
The story
HBO
of Action
Max.
Park is a true
I don't know what
crime
that
story.
means. I can't keep track anymore.
As you entered the park, you saw this thing, and you're like, this is real.
The engineering behind this, if there was any engineering, was just nuts.
Build it higher, make it faster. People control the action.
Combine that with liquor and anything goes.
There were no rules. For a lot of kids, that was heaven.
And if you couldn't swim well, yikes.
I don't think you can understand a place like Action Park if you don't understand the kind of minds that build it.
A lot of people wish they could ignore rules. Gene actually did that.
Nobody would give him insurance, so he created his own insurance company and then insured himself.
It did bring sometimes a criminal element.
I don't know how many people died at Action Park, but it wasn't just one person.
Electrocuted.
Decapitated.
Fractured vertebrae.
Impaled on the bowl.
Had a heart attack.
Nobody should ever be the second person to die in a
So
wave
dramatic.
pool. Close the wave pool.
There you go. Streaming August 27th. Just so you know. You know, here at Lunch Therapy, we're kind of ahead of the curve, I guess, sometimes. Usually we're behind the curve. So anyway, we're going to be having more people on. Tomorrow we have Chris Shane coming on live. Sometimes we'll do it live. Sometimes we'll do it taped. Jonathan was live today, so I thank him for being the first and for coming on with all guns blazing. All right. Thank you. There he is. All right. Cool. Thanks, Jonathan. All right. This is dance break time, and we're going to watch A Spoon Lady. Wait, let's see what Cynthia says before we go. Hey, Cynthia Levin. Wow, this time lapse. Oh, yeah, she said that, but she also says, love you, Joel Marshall. I'm off to Action Park. Yeah. Maybe we can get Cynthia on the show and tell a crazy story. She's a hilarious comedian, as many of you know. All right, here's Abby, the Spoon Lady, to dance us on out. This is an early version of Abby, the Spoon Lady. She plays the spoons. She's in, I believe she's in North Carolina. And this is a website called buskbreak.com. There's some busking there. We love busking here, and we love it when I talk through the entire song. Oh. I'll just dance, because it's dance break. Maybe if I turn it up, you won't be able to hear me. Yes. Tomorrow, Chris Shane. invite you to check out Abby the Spoon Lady. Mary wants to learn the spoons. I mean, check her out because that's just like normal spoons. Those are not like some kind of instrument or anything. They're just a couple of spoons. And she explains online how you hit them in different ways and they make different sounds. And this is early on. She's become a virtuoso and also plays the song. All right, thanks for joining us on Lunch Therapy. We'll see you tomorrow for Chris Shane and some other crazy stories.